listeners, Mr. Robi Kurniawan MA. First of all, let me introduce myself. That my name is Annisa Nadya Ramadhani. In this occasion, I would like to thank for the opportunities that has been given to me to present my proposal with the title Retelling Story Through Picture Series to Improve Student Speaking Skill at MTS Al-Muttaqin, Pekanbaru. Okay, I will show the chapter 1, Introduction, background of the problem of this research. Naturally speaking is unit of communication between two people and become a tool to express our idea, our feeling, and etc. And then a spoken language is important to human life. If we would like to have a good speaking, we should have a good speaking skill. Good speaking can allow us to communicate our meaning and our clarity message with other people, but bad speaking can lead us to misunderstanding and become ambiguous message. And then commonly there are 4 skills that should be mastered by the student. There are listening, speaking, writing, and reading. And then speaking is one of skill that very important. According to Omar Marjan Umidi and Amir Mahdafiza Fargandi in their journal 2016, state that speaking is an important skill in communication that often seems to be a source of problems for many language learners. And then according to Fitra Murni 2018, she stated that actually speaking is one of tools in communication, and then it is one of the skills that has to be mastered by the students. In communication, the speaker have to know the aspect of speaking. According to Douglas 2004, as cited in Megawati, there are 5 aspects of speaking skill. There are pronunciation, grammar, vocabulary, fluency, comprehension, and the learners still have some problems such as choice of word, and then in language features, class of words, pronunciation, fluency. Because of that, the students were afraid to make a mistake when they speak in English, and then the student less confident to speak in English in front of the class. So there are various speaking activities used in classroom such as discussion, debate in pair, speech, teacher, question, and strategies. But in this research, the research focused on retelling story to picture series to improve student speaking skill at MTS Al-Muttaqin, Pekanbaru. And then, according to Morrow, 1989, as cited in Syahputra and Komaria, she stated that retelling is reading or listening activity that learners remember from reading or listening, and then they retell what they recognize both through speaking or writing. This technique is one of the appropriate ways to improve student speaking skill and to encourage student speaking in front of the public. And then retelling, it is a tool for developing student anxiety in speaking. It's according to Morrow. So, retelling story is an assessment tool that helps the learners in developing of learning speaking and useful teaching technique to encourage learners to improve communication and improve an oral language comprehension. And then when the student retell the story, the picture series can help the student to retell the story on their imagination based on the picture series they get. For the story, the researcher used one of type of narrative text. And then according to Fitra Murni 2019, she was considered that using picture series was useful and helpful in improving the student's speaking skill, especially in narrative text. So, according to Wright, 1998, explained that picture series are very important in helping students to retell experiences or understanding something, since they can represent place, object, people, and etc. Picture series is a set of picture containing of event, character, and setting of narrative. And then according to Rebecca, she said that narrative story have a sequence of events. A narrative have a beginning and then the middle and then the ending. Narrative that can help the learners in improving speaking well and easily by retelling through picture series. Okay, based on interview with an English teacher in that school, Ma'am Fatima Kia SPD, she said that English study has got success if the student get 76 of passing grade, and then she said the student have low level speaking, and then the student still hesitant or still not confident in speaking class. The student still feeling shy to speak in English, and then because of that the student were shy. They felt wrong when they speak up in front of the class. They were making mistake to speak in English in front of the class. And then ever the teacher give media while learning process. The students show the enthusiastic when using media. The student more understood about the lesson and about the material. Based on interview with several students, Naila and Ratu, they said that English was so difficult, especially in speaking. They felt easy to read but hard to talk and pronounce, and sometimes they do not know what the words mean because of lack of vocabulary. And then they feel hesitated because of that. They lack of good self-confidence. And ever the teacher gave the media, and Naila said that she more understood about the material, about the lesson when the teacher gave the media. Based on the problem above, it can be seen into the following symptoms. The first is some of students have a lack of vocabulary knowledge, thus they have difficulty in arranging a sentence when speaking. And then the next is some of students have a lack of good self-confidence and understanding in speaking English. And the last is some of students so enthusiastic when using media. Okay, we come to the next identification of the problem. The first is, why do some of the students have a lack of vocabulary knowledge, thus they have difficulty in arranging a sentence when speaking? And then, why do some of the students have a lack of good self-confidence and understanding in speaking English? And then the last is, why do some of the students show the enthusiastic when using media? And then the limitation of the problem. In this research, focus on retelling story to picture series to improve student speaking skill at MTS Aumutakin Pekanbaru. And then the next is formulation of the problem. There is one formulation of the problem. Is there any significant improvement on students' speaking skill through retelling story by using picture series at MTS Aumutakin Pekanbaru? And then the next is objective of the research. The objective is to know any significant improvement on students' speaking skill through retelling story by using picture series at MTS Al-Mutakin Pekanbaru. And then the next is the significances of the research. There are 4 significances of the research. And then the next is the reason for choosing the title. The reason for choosing this title, there are 4 reasons. The first is the researcher is interested to get that knowledge, the topic, and then there has never been a similarity to the study at those scope. And then the title of this research is relevant to the research findings, relevant to the research status in English Education Department. And then finally, the location of the research, support and facilities the writer to conduct the research. Okay, we come to the chapter 2 about review of related literature. And in chapter 2, there are theoretical framework or grand theory about the title of the research paper. The first is nature speaking, principle of teaching speaking skill, and then beliefs about developing speaking skill, and then teaching speaking skill. Okay, according to Brown, teaching speaking skill is meant that teaching means showing or helping someone how to do something, given instruction, and then guiding in the study of the something. And then in teaching speaking skill, there are activities to promote speaking. According to Kai Haridie in his journal 2006, there are 13 activities to promote speaking skill. The first is discussion, and then role play, simulation, information gap, brainstorming, storytelling, and then interview, story completion, reporting, playing cards, and then picture narrative, picture describing, find difference. So dari ke-13 poin tersebut, the researchers use one of activities to promote speaking skill. The researcher use picture narrative or picture series to retell the story to improve students' speaking skill. And then we come to the next point, is about aspect of speaking skill. According to Douglas in Megawati's journal 2018, there are several aspects of speaking skill. The first is pronunciation, grammar, vocabulary, and then fluency, comprehension, and then grammar. So in this research paper, there are 6 relevant research. From all of the research findings or the result show that there was a statistically significant improvement of the student speaking skill after the implementation of retelling story by using picture series. Okay, we come to the next about operational concept. In analyzing the problem in this research, there are 2 variable X and variable Y, di mana variable X-nya itu about retelling story to picture series. So there are 3 steps of teaching by using retelling technique. The first is pre-retelling, guideline retelling or while retelling, and then post-retelling. According to Morrow in Syahputra et al. 2017, variable Y is student speaking skill. Several important things considered in speaking. So there are 6 points in variable Y about speaking, according to Vinocchio and Bonomano. Okay, we come to the next point about assumption and hypothesis. In this research paper, the writer assumed that there are 3 points. The first is media is necessary in learning process, and then narrative text has been taught to students, and then the last point in assumes the better retelling story to picture series apply in teaching, the better improving students' speaking skill will be. And hypothesis, There are two hypotheses, null hypothesis and active hypothesis. Okay, the next is chapter 3 about research method. The first is research design. In this research, use quantitative pre-experimental design. According to Sugiono 2013, he explained that in experimental research, there is a treatment and then one group pre-test post-test design used in this research. According to Sugiono 2013, there is a pre-test before being given a treatment, and then the research design could be presented as follows: O2X01. This research will be conducted from October until November 2021, and then the location of this research at MTS Al-Muttaqin Pekanbaru, and then the subject and the object of this research. The subject is NIN grade of MTS Al-Muttaqin Pekanbaru, and then the object of this research is focused on student speaking skill for using retelling story through picture series, and then population and sample of this research. The population of this research is the entire students of NIN grade of MTS Al-Muttaqin Pekanbaru, which are consist of 205 students. The sample of this research is 9E class 9A, which are consist of 36 students. And the next is about technique of collecting the data. In this research, the researcher will use tests to collect the data to know the pre-test and post-test score. According to Frankel et al. 2012, said that the whole process of preparing to collect the data is called instrument. So, and for the instrument in this study, use speaking test. So, speaking test used as a research instrument consists of instruction, material to be retold, and then relevant picture series, and the last is narrative text. There are several types of validity, but in this research, the observer only used two validity. The first is content validity, and then construct validity, and then reliability of the instrument. To find reliability of the data, inter-rater reliability is used in this research. It means that there will be two raters to judge students' speaking performance. Rubric of scoring system. In evaluating the student's speaking score, the observer used speaking task by Harris 19 and 75. Okay, the next is technique of analyzing the data. So in this research, the data analyzed by using quantitative analysis, and then the speaking performance or the tests were assessed by two raters, and then the score between pre-test and post-test calculated by applying the statistical analysis of t-test. So the researchers used paired sample t-test. The significance of the test is analyzed by using SPSS or by using computer program SPSS 24 version. The honorable examiners, I think I have presented all of the content of my proposal, start from chapter 1 until 3. That's all of my presentation, and thank you for your kind attention, and I will be ready to answer some of the question, and hopefully I can answer all of the question. And I think enough. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.